You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Well, hello. Guess what time it is? If you guessed day 2 of the Season 1 Invitational, you'd be correct. We've got the top 16 players with us today. I, of course, am Mark, a.k.a. aReNGee, in the booth with me. You heard him a little earlier today. It's Sir Rhino. Rhino, how you doing?
I'm doing great. We're ready for perhaps the most ruthless day in Eternal history as we cut 16 players down to 1 in a single elimination bracket. There's no second chances here today. You get one shot and one shot only because there's no losers bracket or bracket of alternative winners, whatever you want to call it. It's you're in it to win it today, and we'll see if that pressure, if these players can stand up to that.
Yeah, man, and I'm excited because it looks like we've got a pretty good mix in the top 16, and even our matchup right here, we've got a little Xenon mid range versus a little Skycrag aggro.
Yeah, so this is a matchup that has traditionally I would say favored the Xenon deck, but this is a really low to the ground Sky take on Skycrag. This is what Ferrisbro has really been rocking for most of this season, where they just top out at Mortar and everything else costs 3 or less. And it can do a really good job of negating the threat of something like Ion, right? Ion can stop your Snow Crush Yetis, Pyro Knights, and Oni Ronins in their tracks, but things like Champion of Fury, Outlaws with Katanas on them, and Vadius can get through the threat of the Ion. Also, Alarmadillo is teched a little more for what the metagame at large is, where there's a lot more control in other mid-range decks. So 4 Twin Brood Sauropod, 4 Xenon Obelisk, a couple of Incold Bloods, those aren't exactly even 4 Xenon Initiations. Not the most effective cards in this matchup. So Alarmadillo is hoping to draw kind of the right half of the deck, right? Your Varus Favors, your Varus Choice can be kind of effective. Blister Sting Wasp can get in the way of a lot of things. And then Ion Banish Titan, right? Those are the cards he wants to see. Doesn't really want to see these sort of inefficient plays on power against the deck that's super low to the ground like Ferrisbro.
That's completely fair. Xenon Initiation, though, we can bump Blistering Wasp up so you can actually block a Vadius. How about that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, not only block it but kill it. A 2/4 into a 3/2. So yeah, these Blistering Wasps could end up being huge in this matchup. But again, 4 Permafrost, 4 Torch can clear out a lot of Alarmadillo's early plays. And the sideboard of Alarmadillo is also a concern here, right? Again, we're talking about how a lot of players didn't feel the need to respect aggro as much as you normally would in these tournaments because Hailstorms kind of push them out. And we see it here, nothing in the form of extra life gain in the sideboard. Sure, you can switch up to some Annihilates, but you don't even have Suffocates. There's an extra Banish, some extra Sabotages. Those are nice. It's not like Dawnwalker is a nice thing to bring in. And nothing like Devoted Thurge to look at here. So Alarmadillo is not gaining a whole lot out of the sideboard in this matchup, and I think that'll be a concern for them as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know who I want to give the edge to, because realistically, Alarmadillo is able to get down something like an Obelisk or an Ion, followed up with a Xenon Initiation, and Farad doesn't have a good answer to it right off the bat. I feel like Alarmadillo is going to pull it out, but if Farad can get any sort of decent start and Alarmadillo stumbles at all, I kind of like Farad.
Yeah, I think Farad's just got this deck that's built to be hyper consistent, where Alarmadillo is consistent as well, but not in necessarily the answers and how they match up against aggro, and that could be the difference here. I think those games where Ferrisbro does draw 0 torches, Alarmadillo is going to be looking in very good shape. It's how does Alarmadillo overcome the hands that have like 1 to 2 torches to push through those initial threats, and that's what we'll have to see as this game gets underway.
Yeah, I do though like Alarmadillo's hand right now. I see both Vara's favor going to be able to answer whatever threat that Farad puts down on turn 1, and then into an Ion, into a Sandstorm Titan.
Yeah,
it's not looking great.
Yeah. The other big thing is not only does it have the turn 2 Vara's favor, but Alarmadillo is on the play, and Ferrisbro doesn't have a primal source, so he's kind of priced into playing either Oni Ronin or Grenin Drone, and goes with the Grenin Drone to play around the Vara's favor rather than the more powerful threat in Oni Ronin to try and get the Warcry's going. I think this makes a lot of sense, especially because of the ornate katana in Farron's Bro hand. Trying to guarantee the ability to get that down here when you're struggling to hit power is a smart play.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And this is going to get with 3 points of damage in and draw them another card. Draws them another power. Unfortunately, not the not the primal source they were looking for, but will free up that Oni Scepter.
All right, well, there is a primal source in Skycrag Banner, and Farron's Bro will most likely just, well, you could play Oni Ronin and the Yeti here instead of slamming the Shogun Scepter, which effectively just gives you an Oni Ronin, but doesn't take your Greninja drone out of Ion range or Banish range, which are the two cards Alarmadillo is representing here. So Farron's Bro has some options here. On one hand, it's easier to dole out these 1-drops at other points in the curve rather than keeping a clunky 3-cost card in hand. But the rest of your hand is 4-cost cards anyway, so the prospect of casting multiple spells a turn on future turns isn't looking that great regardless.
Yeah, I think I like getting the creatures in play because much like you said, if you are going to swing to an Ion, the Ion's already going to be dying. I guess like this definitely presses a block a little bit more. But,
yeah, that does do a better job of forcing or compelling the Ion to block, where if, say, this Greninja drone didn't have Warcry, then this Ion might not even trade with it, and then you have to worry about the Ion getting killer while you don't have any kind of defensive shields up. And here we see Farron's Bro swing with the Oni Ronin, which leaves Sandstorm Titan at a convenient 4 health.
Yeah, if I'm Alarmadillo, I don't think I block through. I'm at 26 life. Like, yeah, I'm allowing my opponent to get another Warcry, but it just seems like that's a little suspect. You know?
I'm okay with it just based on...
Okay.
Yeah, because they'd have to have Mortar or, like, Double Torch, so that's taking up basically their whole turn to kill with your Sandstorm Titan, then you get to untap and play another huge set. I realize Sandstorm Titan is very hard for Farron's Bro to deal with, so I concede your point as well in terms of... you know, they don't have polymorph main deck. They're going to have to use multiple cards to take it out, and maybe you could get something better than an Oni Ronin.
Yeah, and I mean, like my point there too is that Sandstorm Titan races that, especially given what you have in your hand to follow it up with. Like, leave it around and just force Farah to deal with the 5, getting hit for 5 every turn.
Yeah, that's super fair. If like they're trying to hold up Mortar going forward forever, you're
exactly
in a huge, advantage position. But now we see Alarmadillo can keep applying pressure as they so choose. They could go in cold blood here and take out the Champion of Fury and not worry about like a double block. But I think you're pretty happy if a double block comes down here and you're following it up with Sandstorm Titan either way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'd be very happy to trade off 2 units because I still probably have the Cold and Blood to answer something, or in Cold Blood in order to answer something else.
Yeah.
And now with the Alarmadillo sitting with 10 power, 5 of which has Overwhelm, it's not looking in the greatest of shape.
Yeah, this is a spot where I wouldn't be surprised if Farron's Bro tries to swing in and uptrade the Mortar. Alarmadillo doesn't take it now. He's got 2 threats, effectively a 2-turn clock with Farron's Bro at 20 and 10 strength in play, and an in cold blood to back up 2 big units, and a Carnosaur lurking in hand. But we'll see what Farron's Bro does here. It is not looking great, that's for sure. And here we see the pair of 2 drops coming in, or 1 drops with 2 strength come in.
Yeah.
And just an Outlaw to follow up to try and double block. That's not happening as Alarmadillo finds power.
Yeah, this is going to allow the Carnosaur to be played. I actually kind of like taking out the Outlaw over the Champion of Fury.
Yeah, the Champion of Fury, though, is threatening to be a 5 strength unit if Farron's Bro ever finds a primal source, and they could actually like straight up trade with something like Reinhardt. But ultimately, it's kind of a minor difference one way or another. If they're putting a weapon on Outlaw, you could use in cold blood on it anyways. But
yeah, I agree. I guess it's just to get that Warcry off the. I don't know. I'd rather have the known point of 1 damage added on rather than the unknown point of +1/+1.
So Farron's Bro, wisely holds back the Aegis unit as a blocker. The problem is still dead on board with the other 2 units coming through, as Mortar doesn't kill any of them. Just point the Mortar at their own face, and
it's the honorable way to go out.
Yeah, I think that those attacks are still right. Like, you're so far behind, you kind of have to hope Alarmadillo makes a mistake in blocking, and by applying a little bit more pressure, kind of putting on a face to see if you can get Alarmadillo to panic there was the right move. It's just Alarmadillo saw through it and promptly said, I had big dinosaurs. Let's go.
All right. So then who are we liking in the next couple games?
Well, this is a best of 5, so we're not sideboarding just yet. We're going to run it back, but Alarmadillo did get that first game, got a nice little life swing off the back of Ion into that Granite Drone. That was what I was talking about. If Ferrisbro doesn't have a Permafrost or a Torch, it's going to be really hard for just units versus units. The Skycrag deck is at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, and looking at Alarmadillo's hand again, it doesn't have a lot going on, but the fact that we have a Dark Return and an Ion in it, I think I would keep this. It's risky.
It gets really. It doesn't. This is the cool thing with Ion though, because he has Ambush. He doesn't really get like Dark Return can get blown out by Permafrost. But because Ion usually comes down and trades, you don't have to worry about that angle as much. But Alarmadillo still wanted something more than just that. Ships the hand off and gets something much worse. Double Obelisk, Cold Blood. Ooh, this is bad. Yeah,
I don't know. I look at that initial hand and I see I deal more than likely 6 points of life as well as 2 removal spells. To your point, Permafrost definitely does shut that down, but I don't know. I would prefer it better to where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I mean, the hindsight is 2020, as they say. I don't think it was unreasonable to ship a hand that was 5 power Ion Dark Return. But I
like being greedier.
Yeah. This is not looking good, as Ferrisbro is going to crack in for 12 here and take Alarmadillo down to 9.
How do you like putting the ornate or the like doubling up the weapons on the outlaw?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, sure, spread the love makes sense, but also setting up the outlaw if they don't have removal to be able to swing into, say, Sandstorm Titans or whatever makes sense too.
Yeah.
But all right, quickly evened up series there. Skycrag aggro showing off what it can do when it's on the play and the opponent stumbles out the gates. Because holy cow, this Champion of Fury hit like a truck.
Yes, it did. That was a turn 3 win? No, turn 4. Right?
It was there. They scooped on turn 4, but it would have been, like a turn 4 or 5 kill there. It would have been a turn 5 kill. So.
Scooping's all that matters, Rhino. That's still a kill. You've demoralized your opponent to the point that they feel they can no longer continue.
I've had a number of turn 0 kills that broke the game. All right, so sideboard time. And these players probably might not actually have a straight sideboard played in mind. There were 15 matchups to prepare for on some level, so I think they probably didn't have time to test all of them, as the bracket wasn't posted until this morning, so they didn't know super far ahead of time what matchups they needed to test. But that being said, Skycrag aggro is kind of a known quantity. Xenon mid range, even with some of the different tech here, you know what you care about if you're the Skycrag player. They've got Ion, they've got Titan, and they've got some removal to back those cards up. So we talked about this a bit before the match, but I suspect on Alarmadillo's side, Sabotage to come in, and it's more about what you want to take out as Alarmadillo, right?
Yeah.
Carnosaurs are expensive, but can be effective at taking out Aegis units, but I think 4 is pushing it. In Cold Blood is awful. It's just a strictly worse banish in this matchup, so that's a super easy cut. Twin Brood Sauropods aren't super effective blockers, but you might just need a couple of them for the bodies. Same thing with Xenon Obelisk. I doubt you're going to stay at the full 4 count for that card as well. Those are like the whole top end I'm looking to get trimmed down, and I'm looking to bring in some number of Sabotages and extra banishes. Annihilates aren't great, but probably on average
get your Titan out of the way.
Yeah, they're probably on average better than Varus Choice. Varus Choice hits Vadius and Champion of Fury. Annihilate hits everything else other than those.
Really?
It's just super cheap.
Yeah.
And also for initiations a lot.
That I agree with.
Do you think there's a chance Dawnwalkers just come in as a cheaper card to play?
I guess it depends on how many of the Carnosaurs and Twinning Broods that they decide to cut, right? And Yeah, and I mean, like, do you think there's any play for Dark Return to come in just to hope to rebuy some of the cheaper threats or cheaper blockers?
You already have two. I don't expect you want to go up to a higher number. It does combine really well with Wasp and Interrogator and Ion against the Torch deck, but they're also playing Permafrost, which is a concern. But game 2 is underway.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk much about what Ferrisbro could or could not have brought in. I don't expect a huge change in their game plan here, though, other than maybe trying to work in some polymorphs.
Yeah, polymorphs. What do you think about Groundbreaker? That was the other one that was a little bit interested in.
The fact that Groundbreaker kind of gets hit by all of the removal you're expecting Alarmadillo to bring in makes it less appetizing, as we see Vara's choice be not quite as good as Annihilate, but still pretty decent here in terms of getting a Katana to fall off and a Pyro Knight back into hand.
Vadius hit and play for Faro here. Alarmadillo not doing a ton, but crucially has the influence and power needed to play this Ion now, as well as a Vara favor drawn for the turn to be able to pop that Aegis on Vadius if that becomes an issue.
Yeah, and this will be interesting to see what Alarmadillo wants to do here. Could go and just trade Ion with this Champion of Fury. Could go for the greedy line where take all this damage, bring in Ion. Next turn you get to initiation it and take out Vadius super cleanly.
Ooh, kind of like...
Yeah.
Kind of like that?
Yeah, it all depends on what kind of read Alarmadillo has on. Does Ferrisbro have a torch? What kind of pauses have I seen so far? And so far, they haven't seen any, but does not want to take the risk, going to take the safe play here. And I can certainly respect playing it safe against a deck like this.
Yeah, next turn, still going to be able to play the Sandstorm Titan, or could actually fire off the two Varus favors.
No, but he's going to slam down the big boy Sandstorm Titan here, make him have the Polymorph, which Ferrisbro does not have. Ferrisbro just going to bluff, but no pause there means Alarmadillo might not be falling for that in the future.
With 3 points of damage, and I guess because they can't block with the 2/1s either. Yeah.
So Alarmadillo does kind of want to get some sweet value out of these Ferris favors to kill this Pyro Knight before it can activate, but also has Interrogator initiation when you know your opponent doesn't have a pause. Looks like it's going to take the middle road and get Sandstorm Titan up to a 6/7, which is
I think I would have definitely put the initiation on the Interrogator because that's going to bring it up to a 5/4, and it's still going to eat the Vadius. Yeah,
6/7 is big, but not as big as usual because the Skycrag deck isn't playing Obliterate. But now this Titan can block all of these 2 strength units and not worry about the Mortar follow-up, which we see is Ferrisbro's draw here. So Alarmadillo getting paid off for just going in on Titan and trying to fade Polymorph for as long as possible.
Yeah, and again, starting next turn, because Faro does not have the 6th land for the Pyro, or excuse me, the 6th power for the Pyro Knight.
Swear jar.
Yep. These 2 Varus favors are going to be able to pick off both of the Pyro Knights, and that's going to put Faro in a very awkward situation.
Yeah, and I don't know if Alarmadillo is necessarily going to pick off both Pyro Knights.
Really?
One of them is
I guess, the Silence one, yeah.
So it may just be that they use one and save the other to pop Aegis or do who knows what else with. But in the meantime, Ferrisbro doesn't have anything great to do here. You can throw a Permafrost on Interrogator, but that's not going to produce any better swings for you. It's just, Permafrost and Interrogator. Hey, But
and I guess, but so the reason why I liked getting rid of both the Pyro Knights is because you would have been able to get aggressive and you effectively put your opponent on a 3-turn clock.
And I think that's what we're going to see here. Is this does allow Sandstorm Titan to attack? That's a great point.
Which is why I actually liked the Permafrost coming down from Faro that turn. Granted, again, they didn't have too many other plays, but being able to save that Mortar, I think, is pretty important.
Yeah, and Vara's favor taking out. Just showing how strong that card is. But now Alarmadillo's trying to find something else to back up this Titan. And now it becomes a question of, do you swing with your last threat here? I mean, you get a 3-for-1 out of it, but you don't know what the top of your deck holds.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if I want to, if I'm in top deck mode against an aggro deck, I don't know if I want to, even if I'm getting a 3-for-1, I don't know if I'm willing to take that trade, Yeah,
Titan is just so hard for Skycrag to deal with. Like they have to at this point have to have Polymorph that Yeah, another initiation. I think we're going to see it stacked on Titan here.
No, I like this. I like this a lot. Yep.
Yeah, make them use the mortar on it, and then Titan can start swinging again or whatever, or you just draw out of it.
Exactly.
Boom. Yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Do you put that there? I was like, yeah, I kind of like putting that there. I mean, now, of course, and aReNGee drawing the Annihilate off of the arc, Interrogator's trigger has no fear anymore.
Oh,
no fear
now
at all.
You get to swing. You hold up Annihilate. If they double block, it's Blowout City, and Ferris Bro's like, all right, I'm not comfortable with anything that's happening anymore.
Yeah, there's a Predatory Carnosaur off the top for aReNGee, thanks to that Interrogator trigger. I think in aReNGee being at effectively 10 power, I don't know that Faro is going to be able to claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, Ferris Bro is largely a unit-based aggro deck, right? This does not have obliterates. It just has the mortars and torches to reach into the face. And when aReNGee's this stabilized, it looks really hard for Ferris Bro to turn this around. Now it's getting to the point where even if they find a polymorph for this Titan, there's a bunch of other things to deal with, and Ferris Bro sitting at 7.
Yeah, how do you like not using the killer on the Predatory Carnosaur? It's like I understand playing around mortar, but yeah, then you open yourself up to permafrost.
Yeah, it might be a little too cute. Like, are you that bummed out if they end up using a mortar on your Carnosaur? When honestly, you're so far behind at this point, you want them to use mortar on your face?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you know.
So, but Ferris Bro uses mortar to deal with that Ion, has no cards in hand, is tapped out, and aReNGee has a whole lot of removal in hand to get to work with here. Although they can't even block Titan as it stands, so I don't think we'll see any of it get used here. You could have used initiation to make Titan a
lethal.
7 strength unit at the very least to force them to block with one of these. But at the same time, you're threatening Vera's favor here anyways, so Ferris Bro might be compelled to chump, but nope.
Yeah.
Does not. Goes down to 1. And aReNGee has this game.
Yeah, because thanks to the 2 Varus choices and the Annihilates, there will be 0 blockers for Farad. Oh, and a banish on top. Okay.
Yeah, and this is the problem with Skycrag. It can really have trouble dealing with a Sandstorm Titan, and we saw aReNGee abuse that fact to the fullest this game.
Yeah, I'd really like to see banish come down too, just to show them. Oh, I guess you'd have to banish, and then you could annihilate your own unit. Yeah.
Banish one of their units, annihilate one of your own for the full.
Oh,
still at all these, but aReNGee is a man of integrity and has respect for Ferris Bro, and will do just what it takes to get the kill.
And that's why they're playing and we're casting.
Yeah, because you would misclick the annihilate on the Sandstorm Titan.
Oh yeah, that is something that would definitely occur. And I'd be like, well, this was fun.
This was fun. Oh yeah. I mean, at least you'd make the highlight reel.
That's an excellent point.
You know, it's all for the greater good.
Life goals. So we have one more game? Do you think they're going to be
potentially one more?
Yeah. Do you think they're going to be going back to the board at all?
Looks like maybe Ferris Bro will try and figure out if there's a way to play 7 polymorphs in the deck.
There probably is, especially if you can reduce the cost to 1.
Yeah. But we didn't fully talk about this side. We didn't see any new cards from Ferris Bro there, and we'll see if we see anything here. They do have some permission in the form of Backlash or Island's Intervention or even Caleb's Choice. But the thing is, you're against a deck that's playing a bunch of mid-range threats. It might be hard to find room to hold those up. So I don't know how extreme Ferris Bro went here other than maybe Crystallize and Polymorph.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily. I don't know. I still don't know if I mind Groundbreaker just because it is another answer to Titan. But to your point, every single piece of removal that aReNGee is more than likely going to have does answer it. But I don't know. Maybe you just need those more threats. Yeah. But we do see the game is underway. Farad on the play plays out a Rakano Outlaw. aReNGee then gets the turn and plays a Blistering Wasp.
Yeah, Blister Sting Wasp showing off its value as it's going to force either this Rakano Outlaw to get bigger or a torch on it. And here we see Ornate Katana on Outlaw, Ferrisbro crucially being on the play. That's where they love to be. And on the other end, Alarmadillo now will have to decide whether or not to just banish this Outlaw to the Shadow Realm or hold up Ion. And yep, not going to take any chances. Get that Outlaw out of here.
Farah does have the torch, so they're going to be able to get rid of the Blister Sting Wasp and get in for another 2 here. Crucially, though, missing that second fire influence.
Yeah. And I like this from Alarmadillo as well. Because of the sabotage, you really want to wait on this Ion. And now you'll be able to sabotage, find that the coast is clear by either taking out Mortar or Polymorph. And yeah, takes out the fast spell, gets the hold up Ion here, and has almost perfect information as far as what Ferrisbro could have. Again, there's one mystery card that they did not see.
Yep, Farad clearly reading that Ion is a possibility from Alarmadillo. Only attacks in with the Champion of Fury. Wow. Okay. Well,
so Xena Initiation comes down on Ion here. Now it's up to Ferrisbro. Do you want to use Vera's Choice on the face or hold up another Ion? And I think it'd be crazy to pass up on the ability to abduct some more units here.
Yeah, that's right there with you.
Yeah, and now Ferrisbro is like, oh no, can I even beat 2 Ions this game? I think it's the question you have to ask if you're Skycrag. And the answer, I believe, is no. Like, if Alarmadillo had a second Ion, I don't think there's a way for Ferrisbro to win this game regardless, so you should swing here.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a way for Ferrisbro to win this game. We'll see how this goes, but Alarmadillo is going to gain a lot of life. They've got a blank on a lot of draw steps. The thing is, even if they do that, Ion activations could end up threatening at some point. Ferrisbro does have 1 Polymorph to shrink an Ion, but then if a Titan ever shows up, you're dead in the water. But
I'm trying to think what draws Farad could have. I think they involve Permafrost and a power, or maybe Permafrost.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's certainly not over. It is just it is an uphill battle for Ferrisbro.
It's 11 o'clock. Steep. Yeah,
very steep uphill battle. But they do have one answer to an Ion with a Polymorph. It's just a valuable answer that you don't necessarily want to use. Also, Alarmadillo not using Vara's Choice there. Not sure what's in Ferrisbro's hand. Could have reasoned that it was Evadius because it's double fire, but that's a bit of a leap to make. Instead, holding it to maybe bounce a unit that gets a weapon on it or something like that, or get a blocker out of the way.
Because I guess that it's not going to be Shogun Scepter because of the sabotage earlier, and they didn't play power, so you knew that it had to either be a creature or a power in hand. And since they didn't play power, it had to be a creature. Yeah.
So a little interesting that they decided to offer that trade with Vadius. 2 power away from Ion activations with already a target in the void. But that does get an obnoxious Aegis unit that could eventually threaten to create a Chakram later on. So I can respect that. And pays off as Dark Return is the draw here for Alarmadillo. So this is kind of the nightmare for Skycrag. It's one game it was a nonstop Titan Fest, and now it's a nonstop Ion Fest as Alarmadillo will be able to Dark Return a killer 5/5 Ion.
Do you I don't know. I kind of don't mind while they were tapped out a little bit, just playing the Ion and go ahead and killering on the Grenadin. I'm just because it's another 5 points of damage. I guess no, because it opens it up to Permafrost there. Yeah,
I think you just save the killer and simply swing with Ion if there's anything. But okay, they use the killer there, get the unit off board. Now Ferrisbro, if they draw any weapons, they're dead draws.
I guess that's fair.
But Ferrisbro is kind of in this. They have the board. It's just Alarmadillo's at 36 health, so they've got a lot of work to do. But it's certainly possible that Alarmadillo simply never draws another threat. Didn't get to activate either of these Ions.
2 more Champion of Furies off the top, and that's looking pretty good,
Yeah, there's a Shogun Scepter for Ferrisbro, which goes on the Grenin drone, and I imagine we'll get banished here. But
block with the. I would have liked to see the block with the frog. I think. I don't think you're
at 36. You didn't know you were going to draw that removal spell to get them back to 0 units, and I don't know if Alarmadillo went to 0 obelisk. If you have any number of obelisks, I don't mind holding on to frog. But I don't know if Alarmadillo went to 0 or 2 or what.
No, yeah, I think that's a well. And then we see the block there. So now, all right. Oh well, and there's the blister sting wasp.
Yeah. So now you don't really have to Vara's choice this outlaw until it gets a weapon on it, because blister sting wasp can block it. And there's another champion of Fury. That's what you were talking about. There's now one left in Ferretsbro's deck. This is the 3rd champion of Fury.
Yeah, but with the, I'm assuming, yeah, you play it and then you get to attack. Either one of these gets to eat the blister sting wasp, and then your Volcano Outlaw starts swinging in. And also which I do think you have to block here.
I do not. This is 7 damage. You're going back to your starting life total.
Yeah. Oh well, there's the Sandstorm Titan. But I guess like the reason why I kind of like blocking is to make sure that you got value, right? Because if a mortar, a torch, or a permafrost comes off the top, turn? Yeah,
that's fair. It's certainly a fair take on it as well. But I think you've got time to try and again, like you have Xenon Initiation in your deck. You know, these are the things you need to think about as well as terms of future draw steps, not only from your opponent but for yourself. And your life total is a resource.
Yeah, I'm conflating games there. I thought more Xenon Initiations had actually been played, but only one had been played. Oh, and Ion to the draw with the crucial 9, or excuse me, it's down to 8 power now for Ion. Yeah.
So Alarmadillo can try and turn this right here, like use Vara's choice on Champion of Fury and start counter pressuring. But it's only for 1 turn that you get to get that swing in, and again, you're exposing Titan to removal that you maybe not necessarily have to do. Ion's a pretty nice draw here, as when it does come down, it should be able to ulti and bring back something big. And yeah, we see Alarmadillo is going to put on the pressure, because if not now, when, right? We've both been in top deck mode for a while. Ferretsbro likely doesn't have any spells, that they would have been dealing with this Blister Sting Wasp. And Alarmadillo correctly decides to, or at least I think correctly decides to start applying pressure again and take Ferretsbro down to 8.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And now we're going to be able to see Farad play, the Silence Champion of Fury, as well as possibly that Permafrost. Oh, no, decides not to play the Permafrost. Alarmadillo just gets in that Ion. It's going to immediately ultimate it. It's going to get another 6/6 Silenced Ion.
And now how aggro do you get here? Yeah, there it is. There's the A space. If they want to take out Titan, they have to triple block it and go down to 4, which leaves a whole bunch of lethal units in play. Okay, holds back the Blister Sting Wasp here.
Which I like.
I don't. I would have preferred a space there. Yeah, because if they want to block Wasp, then they can put Yeti on Wasp and double block Ion and take the 5 from Titan and have 1 unit left. But I don't know. I value that 1 damage here, considering they're at 8. Putting them at 4 is kind of significant.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly fair point.
So there we see the triple block on Titan. They'll go down to 5. Ferretsbro has a Permafrost for this 6/6 Ion.
Yeah, but how much is that actually doing?
I mean, it's keeping them alive is what it's doing. But yeah, this does not look good for Ferretsbro. Finally hit a pocket of power. It was sort of inevitable, right? They were stuck at 4 or 5 power for a bit there, while Alarmadillo was hitting a little bit higher, and now the mid-range deck found its mid-range threats, which just stand alone a bit stronger than Skycrag in top deck mode.
Yeah, so it looks like, oh wow, all of our other matches are done, including the Chalice match. That is, that's
this
exciting.
one went to 5. Like that.
It did.
These like low to ground proactive decks.
Or I think we're at 4. Yeah,
that is true. This did not go to 5. But it felt like it did. It was quite the epic match. And there's a polymorph, but a little too late here. Ferretsbro, though, considering the start Alarmadillo had with Ions on top of Ions on top of Ions, did a good job of at least trying to make it into a game, but eventually some more Titans and Ions showed up, and 3 Ions typically will beat 3 Champions of Fury.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like there is I wish that Farad had after polymorphing there in that last turn, go ahead and swung in with the silenced Champion Fury just to send that final message, you know? Get in the 2 points of damage. But congratulations, to Alarmadillo, pulling it out there, and far out. Of course, congratulations, making it day 2 to the Invitational. And now you want to go to this bracket right now?
Sure, we could do a quick bracket recap as now we have cut to a top 8. We're no longer 16. We've got 8 players remaining, so let's do a real fast rundown. HeyYu took out Missing Toes 3-0. I believe that's Felna over Elysian, but I shouldn't set this precedent because I don't remember all the things.
Okay, Missing Toes was on Elysian mid-range, and HeyYu was on Argenport mid-range.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That was a 3-0 then. We just saw Alarmadillo take out Farad's Bro. So Alarmadillo's in the top 8. Magikarp over Kang Breath 3-2. Yep. That was a Praxis kind of mirror. They were both playing Praxis decks, but slightly different styles of it. It looks like Magikarp squeaked that one out just barely. Trumpets takes down Manu 3-1.
Moistacaria versus Fire Justice Shadow Plate there.
Not Shadow, Primal Plate, but
was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Tony G on Argenport takes out Tin Man, who was on Felon Control with a very light hint of fire. And then Dr. Pringles over Danny Boar 3-0. Second Blue 3-0 over Muxox. This was our first round feature match yesterday, and we all predicted Second Blue would win this match, and then Muxox won it. So redemption for the casters, but also redemption, more importantly, redemption for Second Blue, right? As he takes the 3-0, Grenadins moves on, and then Child Roland takes down the champ Kamado 3-0. Man, Kamado was on Removal Pile and Child Roland was on Argenport. Normally, Removal Pile loves that matchup, but a 3-0 win for Child Roland.
Yeah, I did not expect that after going through the bracket earlier and seeing the matchup. Congratulations to Child Roland. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, quite a few upsets, and we'll see if that trend continues as we move on to the top 8. We'll take a short break, get some cool VODs or deck techs or whatever in the meantime, and then we'll bring you all the top 8 action as we move forward. Keep in mind, today's format, we're going to bring you every match. We're not just going to see, duck in on Second Blue versus Child Roland and miss all the other top 8 matches. We're going one match at a time. So we're going to start at the top of this bracket. We're going to run back Alarmadillo versus HeyYu, I believe is the plan. And then just go from there, work our way through the bracket the rest of the day, give you every match of eternal greatness.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll see you guys then.